propagation, pruning, and cultivation of mulberry. So I invite you, sir, to the dais. Please invite.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I'm going to discuss on the mulberry cultivation technologies suitable for the production of quality mulberry silk. And also before that, just I want to share my experiences in the sericulture field, because I worked as a mulberry breeder in the CSRTA Mysore for 22 years. Then same way, another 10 years in the extension of the means transfer of the technology in the field, and and associate with the farmers, and we have developed the it's not continuous. We have transferred the technology to the field, and also our center has become the number one out of the 104 clusters in entire India, because that is the best example that we can the improvement of the farmers field, so it depends on the mainly transfer of technologies. So just I want to share my experiences also simultaneously. There is some break, no? Okay. Then, as you all know, the sericulture is a rural-based agro-industry, and mainly the first beneficiaries are the farmers, and the farmers also they have some marginal farmers to the big farmers, and the many areas farmers are starting sericulture with 1 acre to even 15-20 acres, and they have become the very big entrepreneurs in the silk production, and it gives a lot of employment opportunities to the farmers. And if we see the agroclimatic conditions of the India, and we have very wide variability in the conditions from Pampur, that is Jammu and Kashmir, to the Rajasthan, and then Delhi, and then Karnataka, and then Kerala. There is a lot of variation in the thing. And basing on the different agroclimatic conditions, Central Silk Board has established 3 research institutes for mulberry only, because sericulture, agriculture, and then mugoculture, that will be again different universities, institutes are there. The Central Sericultural Research and Training Institute, Mysore, is taking care of South Indian sericulture farmers and developing technology suitable for the Southern Indian farmers. And Pampur is for the temperate areas, and also the northwestern parts of the Indian farmers. And the CSRTA Berhampur is taking care of eastern and northeastern parts of these are the different states falling under this. Because sericulture mainly consists of two things only. One is the rearing of silkworm, the other one is the growing of the mulberry variety, that is a food plant. Silkworm, whether it is in the temperate condition or in the subtropical condition, it requires same growing conditions. Suppose silkworm requires, young silkworm is divided, the life cycle is divided into 4 molds and also 5 phases. 4 molds means first and second, to first 2 phases we call it as young silkworm rearing, and then third, fourth, and fifth we call it as late silkworm rearing. So first and second stage rearing, the silkworms requires high temperature, that is 27 to 28 degree temperature, and the humidity of around 80 to 85, and even sometimes even 90% of the related humidity is required for growing of the young silkworms. For late silkworm, gradually the temperature also from 27 to 26, even spinning stage 25 degrees centigrade is required, and humidity from 75 to around 55-60 degree relative humidity, percentage of relative humidity is ideal for this thing. Why I am highlighting this is because silkworm growing conditions are stable, because we have to maintain, if you are growing the silkworms either in the subtropical environment, temperate environment, and the other environment, the silkworm, wherever you have to rear the silkworm, you have to maintain all these parameters. Means the rearing conditions you have to provide. Along with that, you have to provide the hygiene and the other parameters. Actually, while attending some training programs, so farmers they used to ask whether sericulture will survive, because a lot of competition with the other agricultural crops like that way. But CSB is having very high target of producing 60 metric tons of silk by end of 29-30, and we are around 38 to 40,000 metric tons presently. So sorry. And to achieve that, we have to take the plantation of around 3 lakh hectares of mulberry plantation. And if we can establish the mulberry plantation in 3 lakh hectares, then only we may be able to achieve the biovoltaic cell as for the targets. And because yesterday Dr. Dandin sir and the Kumar sir, they might have highlighted the importance of sericulture. Actually, mulberry is a very hardy and perennial crop. And previously, everybody used to grow only for the silkworm rearing only. But nowadays, its uses are increasing very enormously, because the mulberry is cultivated for feed of different animals also, and bioremediation is thing also, pharmaceutical and food industry also mulberry is used. But today's our topic is only for the mulberry foliage production for the silkworm rearing only. So here just I want to just slightly enlighten on this thing, because the silkworm production means there are again two types. Previously, so there was no linkage of different parameters, like mulberry breeder used to develop mulberry breeding new variety, and then silkworm breeder used to develop silkworm race, and then rearing technology, they used to develop some technology like that way. But there was no integration, there was no the package type system was not there. And by the time the Indian government want to develop a biovoltaic sericulture technology for improving the silk quality in India, so they have tied up with the Japanese government, that is Japan International Cooperation Agency, and the experts of different fields, all the silkworm breeding, mulberry cultivation, and then disinfection, and then rearing technology, seed, and even reeling technology also, reeling and seed technology also. Experts have come out to India. They stayed here nearly 15 years, and they attained the Indian counterparts also they have developed. Because before this BSTD project also, there was many other projects. There's a national sericulture project, some other project. But under those projects, they have developed the infrastructure, different technologies, different mulberry varieties, and different silkworm races, but the progress was not up to the mark. But under biovoltaic sericulture technology project, see, all these items were found to be most important for the development of sericulture technology. So they insisted that if you lack in any one of these the aspect also, you are not going to get the desirable results. Because though the mulberry variety is very high yielding and very quality, and the silkworm race is not supporting, then again it will be failure. And very productive and high quality silkworm race is produced, and it is not supported by the disease free environment, then also again problem. And then rearing conditions also, if you are not adopting the proper rearing conditions, then also it becomes very difficult. That's why here all these, while rearing, pathogen free environment also we have to maintain. For that we have to do the disinfection, and also the periodical bed disinfectants we have to use it to maintain the pathogen free environment throughout the silkworm rearing period. And the rearing technology also, again already I told you, there are two components. One is the young age silkworm rearing, that is chalky, and then second one is the late age silkworm rearing. Young age silkworm rearing, why we are insisting is, the young age silkworm rearing requires high humidity, high temperature, and that environment encourages the pathogen growth also. So we have to provide the environment, the disease free environment we have to provide. And also we have to, suppose summer season means we have to improve the humidity. For that we have to use the different humidifiers, and then heaters during the winter season, and exhausting pumping system during the rainy season. Like that we have to periodically maintain. So that's why during the BSTD project they have insisted that, so Indian farmers condition is not suitable or not ideal for rearing young age silkworm rearing. That's why we have to emphasize on the development of commercial chalky rearing centers in all the area. Wherever you want to go for the biovoltaic silkworm rearing, you have to establish the commercial chalky rearing centers there up to second molt we have to rear the bivoltin silkworms and then supply to the farmers, so that though the farmers conditions are not very ideal, they can harvest the good cocoon crop. So that's why just I told the CRC management also is very, very important. And the Japanese, they have insisted that all the areas, the commercial chaki rearing center should be established, and the central government also now encouraging, they are giving around 12 lakh rupees for establishment of this thing. And then comes the mounting care and the rearing late age also we need the separate rearing house with the suitable aeration facility, and also the height, because during summer season the height should be more, so the ventilation should be proper, and then the rearing stand and the disinfection method, all the facilities should be there. And for this entire thing, CRC commercial entrepreneurs are developing nowadays. They are doing the engaged silkworm rearing, and they are producing the chalky silkworms. After certification, they are supplying to the farmers. That is one big jump in the bivoltin sericulture, because that is improved the stable, means successful crop rate in the bivoltins. And the major expenditure part is the construction of the rearing house. 22 into 40 or 22 into 50 is suitable for 1 acre mulberry garden. And if the farmer establishes a 2 acre garden also, every 60 days he can rear the one crop. Every 60 days he can prune, so that in 1 unit area 5 crops he can get. Suppose if he establishes 2 acres, then 10 crops in a year he can harvest in a single rearing house. So for the construction of the rearing house, the cost is some farmers are investing from 4 lakhs to even 15-20 lakhs. That is the only major expenditure portion in the thing. And then mounting care. Now plastic chandrikas are very common. Previously the farmers used to use bamboo chandrike, but bamboo chandrike means again the spinning stage, the larvae has to be harvested, and for that they need a lot of manpower, means a lot of labor required. So again they have to keep in other place, and then they have to put these spinning larvae on the mountains. Again, that to avoid that the labor component, so CSP has developed the rotary mountains and plastic chandrike or rotary mountains. Plastic chandrike means when the worms comes for spinning stage, so directly on the bed itself we can put the plastic chandrike, so that then and there itself the silkworms will spin the cocoons. Rotary chandrike, it is qualitatively farmers will get around 5 to 10 rupees additional than the bamboo chandrike or the plastic chandrike, this thing. So that is also, but it is a little bit expensive. Rotary chandrike is expensive. And apart from this, suppose the farmers are producing the large number of the bivoltin cocoons, and then there are no markets and no reeling units, means again that will be a problem. So there should be a linkages, because there should be many reeling machines, and also multi-end reeling machines, and then automatic reeling machines, and then fabric system, like that way. In the rural areas only it should be established, then only the farmers will get them. Now the main problem is most of the areas, agriculture producing areas, all these facilities are available, and only their farmers are disgruntled, means sometimes we are not getting proper rate, and we are not getting the suppose after marketing the cocoons after 1 month, 1.5 month, we are getting the money of the cocoons, like that way they are telling. So all these systems we have to develop simultaneously, then only the sericulture will flourish. Otherwise, if you neglect on any one issue, then it may be a little difficult. So this is in general about the thing. So, and I think there are topics on the disease disinfection and also disease management during the rearing, and engage and latest rearing also is covered, mounting also covered. So you are going to learn all the basic things in the coming days of the training program. So these are all the factors. So that is environment, mulberry leaf, silkworm rearing, and silkworm, all those things. Among all these things, the mulberry leaf, production and the quality is the most contributing factor. Around 38.2% of the mulberry contributes to the success of the rearing crop. Because if the mulberry leaf yield is more, you can rear the more number of silkworm DFLs, that is silkworm eggs, then you will get the more cocoons and then more yield. So your the cost of the is required mainly on the production of the mulberry leaf, and then it reflects on the thing. So mulberry is the important. Mulberry means what are the important factors, because in the room we were discussing in the morning, and here the mulberry leaf yield we can achieve by mainly 4 ways. One is the where we are going to plant, that is also most important, that is land, soil, fertility, any problem is there. So nowadays we are telling, so there is no horizontal expression because a lot of competition for the different commercial crops. So we have to go for the marginal soils and then problematic soils for the mulberry. Yes, we can go for it, but only thing is we have to take care. Before taking up the new plantation, we have to, as much as possible, we have to rectify the soils, and then we have to select the high yielding mulberry varieties. And then mulberry variety, high yielding mulberry variety, again it is depending on the different agroclimatic conditions in one area. One variety is faring, that again I will be discussing. And then suppose if you take all the 4 factors, high yielding mulberry variety contributes for the production of around 50% of the it contributes towards 50%, because yield and quality both are managed by the variety only. These are the characteristics of the mulberry variety. Suppose converted variety or local variety, yield potential is 30. If you put lot of fertilizers or inputs also, we may not improve it up to 30 or 40, only to some extent. But if you select the high yielding variety, then yield can be improved. And then the variety only cannot give the full potential. So for its full expression of its capacity, that potential, we have to provide the manures and also the chemical fertilizers and also the irrigation, and then maintaining the soil condition, loose and flowing, and all the intercultural operations. That again it contributes to around 38%. And in every crop period, depending on the season, suppose the rainy season there will be mildew, and also different diseases will be there, disease and pest. So by that disease and pest, around 10 to 15% of loss will be there. So by taking proper precautionary measures, we can avoid that loss of 15%. If we can adopt all these 4 technologies, we can rear from single mulberry garden. Suppose if we take 1 acre mulberry garden, so the best farmer can rear for each crop 300 DFLs. So 300 DFLs means in a year 1500 DFLs per acre per year. Okay, what are the different components? In brief, I mentioned, explained there. The important these things are selection of the suitable mulberry variety. So we know that improved mulberry variety is the best, but we cannot, I cannot recommend that B1 variety for the temperate area or other variety. So local wise we have to select the, depending on the conditions, you have to select the variety. And then whatever variety is selected, then you have to adopt the propagation or multiplication of those varieties. And then selection of the land and preparation for the planting, how to prepare the land for the thing. And then how to establishment the garden. Because unlike the other commercial crops, mulberry, once you plant it, it will be there for 15 to 20 years. Same garden, just by proper maintenance, pruning and then cleaning and then maintaining, up to 20 years, you need not go for the next plantation, because the same plantation we can use up to 20 years. So that's why, so the plant should be properly trained and properly established, so that it can, if you are not planting in a proper way, then again you have to uproot in between and then go for the new plantation. That is the additional expenditure. And then once the plantation is established, then we have to maintain it properly, because every year every crop we are going to harvest a lot of leaf with proteins and carbohydrates and all these nutrients, and then we have to replenish that in the form of organic fertilizers or in the chemical fertilizers or the different means the vermicompost or other compost, like that way. Then to avoid the cost of expenditure on the fertilizers. I'm just going to introduce on the integrated nutrition management of the in mulberry plantation, and then water management, because mulberry responds well to the fertilizers and also irrigation water. If the irrigation water and the fertilizers are not proper, whatever variety you plant, it is not going to give the desirable results. Okay. This is this is not exactly related with our present topic, but selection of mulberry variety. How we will select the mulberry variety? Actually, here under the Central Silk Board, we have one central sericultural germplasm station. There 1,280 above mulberry accessions are there, that they are collected from different countries and also from different states and different areas of the mulberry. Wherever mulberry is there, they have collected all the plants and they planted in the CSGRC, that is Central Sericultural Germplasm Station. And similarly, some new introductions also. Suppose some people are going to Japan or some other country, they bring the new varieties by following the quarantine methods, and also like that way. So whatever variable population is available, directly we cannot recommend for the commercial cultivation by the farmers. So before that we have to screen it, and then we have to find out the better plants and then use in the hybridization program. If one or two the characters are not up to the mark, then we have to use in the hybridization program and then go for the screening. And suppose if the existing variability is not sufficient, or you feel some particular characters are required to develop, then we have to adopt the different breeding parameters, that is cross breeding method and polyploidy breeding method, mutation breeding method, in vitro. And even in nature itself, we have many ploids. We have diploids, tetraploids, hexaploids, and also the 302 number of ploidy also it is available. Highest ploidy number also available in mulberry, but only up to tetraploids only they are used for the cultivation. Remaining things are only just for the maintenance, and also in future we may be able to use those genes for the improvement of the mulberry varieties. So these are the different parameters, and once we select the good clone or good hybrid, and then we have to first suppose some 5,000 plants are developed, means from 5,000 the hybrids we have to screen it and select 5 or 6 good ones, and then compare it with the existing one. Suppose in Mysore means we have to compare with the V1 variety. Suppose if in Pampur means Goshadami or PPP1, or in Berampur means either 1635 or 2031, like that way. So local varieties we have to compare, and basing on the significant improvement over the existing ones, we have to finally select one variety. So like that way, so CSRTA Berampur, CSRTA Mysore and CSRTA Pampur, they will be working on the development of varieties suitable for their conditions. And once those varieties are identified and completed at the final evaluation level, then again Central Silk Board has constituted one all India coordinated experiments. So there all the varieties developed at different institutes, also universities and CSB institutions and any NGO organizations, all the better ones they pull together, and again they evaluate under the all India coordinated experiment in almost 18 centers. So basing on their performance, they will select the varieties suitable for different agroclimatic conditions. So depending on the environmental conditions and the variety developed for those areas, you can select it and then go for the multiplication and utilize in the for the commercial exploitation of the varieties. So in brief, for South Indian conditions, many varieties are there, nearly some 30-40 are there, and initially it was local, and then now we have come to Victory 1 and G4 variety. So here if you see the thing, so local variety, the yield was only 18 metric tons, and also leaf quality was around leaf quality was moisture retaining capacity, moisture was around 60%, and its moisture retaining capacity was just 35 to 40%. And gradually we improved the yield, convert to SZ6 Victory 1, we reached 60, and 60-65 also by G4. And not only productivity, and we improved the quality also, because the moisture content of the variety increased up to 80% in V1 and also G4, even S36. And the second thing is, these varieties not only having the high moisture content suitable for the bivoltan silkworm rearing, and they retain longer period. The moisture retention capacity is very longer. That is, so V1, local and converto, it retain moisture only for 2 to 3 hours. But V1 and G4 variety and SR6 variety, they retain up to 6 hours, 7 hours. So that has reduced tremendously, not only yield, not only the quantum jump in the productivity and bivoltan silkworm rearing, and because of the quality, the farmers used to give the initially feeding up to 4 to 5 in a day, they come to only 2, morning 1 feeding and evening 1 feeding. The quality improving in the production of the quality silk also, simultaneously the cost of the labor. Hence, instead of pruning 4 times, 3 times and then feeding to this thing. See, in both the way, these varieties have developed. So for South Indian condition, suppose if anybody want to do it, then Victory 1 or G4, we have to select. And in east and northeastern areas, and Kajali S1, S1 635, 2038, and these any variety you can select it basing on the suitability. So these varieties were tested under All India coordinated experiments and found suitable for these east and northeastern zones. And this is a typical temperate zone. Temperate zone means generally what happens during the winter. Winter there will be, so total leaf shedding will be there. There will be no growth of mulberry. Only limited period only we can do it. May and April, May to October only we can do the rearing. Remaining period it will be ideal only. And most of these varieties are Gosharami and Chinese white. All these varieties are Japanese and Chinese. They've introduced from the Japan directly. And most of the temporary varieties are poor rooters. And the V1 variety and when the PPR and S146, S1635, all these varieties are good rooting percentage higher than 60%. And apart from this, means for irrigated condition, in CSRT Mysore we have developed for resource constraint condition RC1, RC2, and then irrigated protective irrigation condition to varieties, and suboptimal irrigated condition AGB8, and alkaline soils AR12, and then under coconut shale, coconut shade Sahana variety, and for exclusive chalky garden G2 variety we developed it. Like this way, for different region conditions, all the institutes they have developed varieties because of the paucity of the time. Just I selected only from South Indian experience. So this is the maximum jump in the mulberry productivity and also quality. So that's why whenever you are planning about the expansion of the variety or taking of the new plantation, you have to think about the new mulberry variety. That is first concern. Second thing is, once the variety is identified, and then you have to multiply it, because initial selection of only 1 plant, 2 plant, and 50 plants, 60 plants only will be there when the one new variety is identified. So we have to multiply them by using the different methods. So from South Indian or subtropical conditions, stem cuttings are generally used. In South Indian condition, apart from the yield, the minimum selection criteria is above 60%, but most of the mulberry varieties we have developed are above 80% of the rooting. So most of the cuttings of the South Indian origin, we can just simply cutting the shoots and then go for the multiplication. That we call it as hardwood cutting multiplication. So here the thing is, we have to maintain the seed garden, and that every 6 months we can get the cuttings for the multiplication. Every 6 months we can cut it and then multiply the material. That is hardwood stem cuttings only. And suppose if any variety you found it is exemplary good and you want to multiply it in a shorter period, then the other method is the softwood cutting multiplication method. So every 45 days period you have to cut the shoots and then prepare the cuttings by using the softwood, and only you have to provide the additional humidity, care for the humidity and temperature. So that again we'll be discussing. And the root grafting is a very commonly used method in the temperate regions, because most of the Japanese varieties are poor rooters. So root grafting is commonly followed here. All the improved varieties developed are multiplied using the local graft. Local means that seedlings through seeds we have to develop, and those seedlings only we have to use for the grafting. So the roots we have to use as a stock, and the improved material we have to use as a scion and graft it on that and then multiply it. And then suppose when we developed V1 variety, so the JICA Japanese project, they told we immediately we have to supply to the different areas. So there was very less time. So what we did, we have selected one converter garden, and we have taken few branches of the V1, and then by removing the buds and removing the buds of K2 with that existing garden, remove all the buds from the bottom portion, means the lower portion, and then put the V1 on the lower portion of the converter garden, tie it with the tape. Like that way entire garden, 1 acre garden, we transformed into the V1 garden. That is the bud grafting. Only by changing the buds to the low yielding variety, that also we can raise a seed garden. And then the existing plantation, layering method, air layering, trench layering, ground layering, different layering conditions also we can adopt it for the existing plantations. And in Mulberry it is highly heterozygous, and also here we cannot, like any other agriculture crops, we cannot use seeds for the multiplication, because all the seeds are heterozygous, and we don't have the inbred lines, so that's why we cannot use it. But China and Japan, they have developed the seed complex varieties. Like developing a new Mulberry variety, they have the screening and evaluation system. They have recommended varieties. But here most of the South India is the main biold and circulture production area. There all the varieties, they are good rooters. That's why our CSB is not encouraging to develop the seed complex varieties. So once seed complex varieties are developed, means only through seeds, like any other commercial crops, we can establish the Mulberry garden. But presently we are using the seedlings only for the grafting only. And then tissue culture techniques also, micro propagation methods, and through in vitro culture and synthetic seeds, encapsulation method, like that way, by adopting these things. All these things are only for the shady rooter or poor rooters only. We will be using the tissue culture method. So just now only hardwood cutting multiplication method I will explain in detail, because here you will be doing that. So the hardwood selection, nursery area should be free from any diseases or any pest. So first you have to survey the area, and any pest is there or any root-borne disease is there. First you have to verify it, and it should be nearer to the irrigation source, and as much as possible it should be flat soil, and then loamy or clay loamy soils are ideal. And nowadays, a lot of problem is there in South India because of the root rot and root knot. One is nematode disease, another one is the fungal thing. And once it is affecting, it has become very difficult to control these two diseases. And pest means the mealybug. Mealybug also, once is attacked, so it is very difficult to control. So pest, the mealybug and also scaly plants, so you have to avoid, and then select that type of area for the selection of nursery. And once the area is selected, then you have to plow it 2, 3, 4 times, and then allow it to dry and remove all the weeds and all the waste material. And then because if you expose it in advance, 1 or 2 weeks, then all the fungal spores or any pesticides elements, they will be killed by the sun and the birds. Then you have to prepare the nursery layout. Nursery layout we can do in both way, raised beds and also the bunds we will make in shallow system of beds. And this size, what we have mentioned, is 3 meter length and the 1 meter width, and then 10 centimeter. It is not compulsory. If you make this, it is good. Otherwise, whatever the area is available, so accordingly you can make it. Only thing is, it should be perfectly free from all the disease. You have to make it. Then you have to apply before plantation, you have to apply the plantation. And the hardwood multiplication system, the most important one is the the selection of the cutting material. Generally, what happens nowadays, the mulberry is pruned very often. I mean, every 60 days we will be pruning the mulberry plantation and using for the silkworm rearing. And many areas there is no habit of raising the seed garden, but for better sprouting and better rooting of the mulberry cuttings, the garden should be minimum 6 months old. Suppose the low rooters means it should be 6 to 8 months old material, plant material we have to use. So if you want to multiply that material, minimum you have to leave it for 6 to 8 months and apply more farmyard manure and less nitrogen fertilizer, and irrigation also it should be less, so that it will not become very thick and also it will not sprout. So that care you have to take it. And then after 6 to 8 months, because if the 6 to 8 months old material means there will be all the nutrients will be accumulating in the shoots, and when you prepare it now, then it will help in good rooting and also good sprouting. And suppose in general what happens, so if the seed garden is maintained some 50 kilometers or 100 kilometers away, you have to transfer those the seed cutting material and then bring it to your lab or your institute and again go for the multiplication. That time you have to take care that seed, whatever seed branches are there, you have to cover it with the wet gunny cloth, or you have to take care that it should not dry properly. You have to preserve it in a proper way, and then use the cutting preparation. Sorry. Then generally to avoid the fungal disease, root rot and this thing, and either rot fix or the carbendazim or the bavestin or anything, you can use it. What, madam? Okay. So, to avoid the fungal infestation after the planting, so before plantation, we have to soak them in the fungal solution. Either now CSRT mixes as rot fix, some other biocontrol agents also, not biocontrol agents, some rot fix like that they produce it, either Dithanium 45 or bavestin, you can prepare it 0.2% solution, dip it for 2 to 3 hours and then go for the plantation. And suppose the plants are shy rooters or low rooting, then if you want to improve the rooting percentage, you can either IAA, NAA or IBA, any of the rooting hormones you can use it. And then be tested, because NAA is comparatively cheaper, so we use 20 ppm of NAA for this thing, and for the overnight, and 2000 ppm for 2 to 3 seconds, because to avoid the maintenance of more number of trays and all those things. So whatever root hormone is available, you can use that also. And after dipping the cuttings in the root hormone treatment, we have to take them out, and then already we have prepared the nursery, so that one slide is missing actually. So suppose 1 meter length nursery bed is there means, so every we have to put a mark that 20 centimeter like that, 5 rows will come, and each row we can plant a 10 centimeter distance, we can plant it 20 row to row 20 centimeter, and within the row cutting to cutting 10 centimeters we have to plant it, and then afterwards we have to press around the cutting. So generally what happens now, either farmers or some people, general recommendation is 2 to 3 buds for cutting. We have to prepare while preparing the hardwood cuttings, 2 to 3 buds. But some varieties are very short internodal distance like S36, but V1 it is a very long internodal distance. Some genotypes are very like that way. So generally that's to avoid the confusion. They say 10 to 15 centimeter length cuttings. So that just you think about it. But if you prepare the very lengthy cutting, and it becomes very difficult to insert in the nursery bed. So that time what they do is just they bend it like this, cross they will plant it. Then the root portion will be coming somewhere and the sprouting will be in different way. Then again at the time of plantation, that will hamper the nice establishment of the plantation. That's why always we should plant the cutting straight and also around the plant, and because of the length of cutting is more means, so to insert the cutting they take one rod or some stick or something, arrow, they will make a hole and they will put the cutting in that. So that time what happens, there will be a lot of air in the hole, so then that again will the cutting bottom basal portion will dry up and then we will be ending in the loss of the cutting. So that's why immediately after the planting we have to press around the cutting, and then after that we have to give irrigation and then maintain it for the further. Then in between around after around 50 days you have to remove the weeds and then apply basal dose of 10 to 12 grams per square meter of bed area, urea or SSP. And if any pest is there, that generally leaf millibug infestation will be there, so you can go for the either DDBP or Bivestin. And then suppose if more than one shoot is there, generally for each sapling, for each pit we will be recommending to plant only one sapling per one pit. Previously for cutting plantation they used to do 3 cuttings per pit or 4 cuttings, then you used to grow as a bunch of cuttings and it becomes very difficult to train the plant. So that's why, so nursery stage itself, if any cutting sprouts 2 branches, so keep one healthy branch intact with the cutting, and small ones we can remove it, so that each sapling retains only one good branch. Then in 4 to 5 months, 3 to 4 months or 4 to 5 months, it attains around 1 meter or 120 centimeters, like that way. So that is ideal for the plantation, that those saplings we can uproot and then take it for the plantation in the main field. Then before irrigation of the, before uprooting of the nursery beds, so if you are planning, okay, next week I have to go for the plantation, so irrigate the nursery bed 3 to 4 in advance, and then with the help of peacock or something else we have to uproot it, Kolgudili or something we have to uproot it without damaging the root portion much. And then if possible grade it and then plant better ones first and then medium, and then, because if you mix up everything, so the better ones will establish nicely, and in between the smaller ones means the die or they will not sprout, means then they may not be able to cope with the better ones. So that's why you maintain the smaller ones in some other plot, means by taking the more care, that is applying more fertilizer or more farmyard manure or more chemical fertilizers, we can establish the weaker ones also into a better one. Sorry, next one is softwood multiplication method. Here only thing is there 6 months old material we are taking for the multiplication. Here only 45 days old green material we will be taking for the multiplication. Here thing is 10 to 15 centimeter height cuttings we have to prepare it, and we have to keep the top two leaves intact only. We should not remove all the leaves. In the hardwood cuttings there will be no leaves, only cuttings we have to plant. In this case only the top 2 leaves we have to keep it, and the basal portion we have to, a slant cut we have to make it, and then we have to make 20-25 cuttings into a small group bunch, and then treat it with the either NAA 20 ppm or 2000 ppm per few seconds. And then we have to nursery bed similar way we have to prepare it, but here we have to make a, either with the bamboo or any other trees, we have to make a arch, and then inside the arch we have to plant it, and then prepare the arch and plant it there, and then allow it for the 45 to 50 days. So by the time the sprouting will be there, so within 25 to 30 days the sprouting will be there, we can establish. But here problem is, if you are not maintaining proper temperature and humidity, there will be a lot of problems of fungal infestation and also decaying and all those things. So that care we have to take it. So this is the other method. Then root grafting. Root grafting means, here I think you might have already done it. So here also the same hardwood cuttings we have to use it, means already the matured cuttings we have to use it, and the the root portion only from seedlings. So the heterozygous seedlings will be there. Now seeds, by sowing the seeds, we will get the seedlings. Seedlings only we will get the taproot system. So if you plant the cuttings, there will be adventitious shoots. So those things, it becomes very difficult. Otherwise, we have to uproot the existing plantation side by some lateral side roots. We have to uproot it and then take it out and then cut it and then use it. But in case of seedlings, only one seedling, one taproot system will be there. It is easy to handle it. Then at the green that transition page, root portion and shoot portion, just you make a oblique cut, and then if you press it, that will be open, and then the cyan, the whatever material you want to do it, insert into it, and then keep it for 15 to 20 days in a tray, and at around room temperature, 25 to 30 degree temperature you have to keep them. And then after that, we have to prepare the nursery bed like and then transfer these grafts into the field, nursery field. Same, this we have to, we can make the trenches and then put one the graft to graft 10 centimeter like that way, plant to plant. As for the design, if you want to 3 feet or 2 feet, we make the trench or the furrow and then keep the grafts there, cover it with it, and then maintain just like the other nursery. So this is a root graft method. So this top working method is whatever, suppose if you want to do the V1 material, so all the V1 branches we have to keep aside, and suppose if you want to convert the low yielding mulberry variety into high yielding, the low yielding variety buds we have to remove one after the other and take the V1 one and keep them in the same place, tie it with the polythene. Either grafting paper, grafting sheets are there, otherwise polythene sheet also we can cut like a ribbon and then tie it. It should not, air and water should not enter into it. So we have to tie it with it, so that if you allow it on a 15-20 days, it will sprouts and then afterwards grows. But here we have to take maximum care that next pruning always it should be above the grafted one only, after the newly sprouted bud level only. If you cut it below, then again your local variety will come. That care should be there. But this method is ideal only for some new varieties are from Japan or other countries. Some new varieties are brought it. Immediately you want to plant 1 or 2. So that way few grafts we can do it and then maintain it in the nursery. This is a layering method. This is generally practiced in all the horticultural labs. Here also, suppose the grown up plant is there, means in the middle of the plant you have to, the bark portion, some 10 centimeter entire around the shoot, you have to remove the bark, and then you cover it with the compost, sand and soil, 2:1:1 ratio, and then cover the plastic thing, tie it with the thing, and then allow it for grow. Then after 5 or 6 months, you will get the initiation of the rooting in the polythene sheet itself. So cut below this thing, and that top portion you can use it as the sapling. This is a layering method. This is trenching method. So this is the same thing. So suppose one plant is there, means so you make a trench and pull one branch, means that is the 2 to 3 months old material only. Pull the branch and then cover it with the soil. Top portion should be without covering, you have to keep it, and then go for the irrigation. So maintain it. Then once the roots initiate at the nodal region, the bud region, then you can cut the main branch, and then different saplings we can get from one branch. This is the trench layering method. And this ground layering, around the plant, all the branches also we can make a trench around the plant and then bend it and then cover it with the soil. And the bent portion, so there again the root initiation will be there. Those roots will again, after the initiation of the rooting system, those can be cut and use it for the plantation as a sapling. Sorry, it is a little bit hurry. So then selection of the land. So already we discussed on this, and the important soil nutrient parameters are: primary nutrients are nitrogen, phosphorus and potash; secondary calcium, magnesium and sulfur; and then micro zinc, iron and this thing. Soil pH, both alkaline, acidic or neutral, and then organic carbon and electrical conductivity. So the ideal the conditions are the ideal condition pH 6.5 to 7.8 is ideal for the mulberry plantation, and electric conductivity should be less than 1, and the organ carbon should be 0.65 to 1%, and available nitrogen, that is 280 to 560 kg per hectare, and available P2O5 phosphorus is 15 to 25%, 15 to 25 kg per hectare, and available K2 potassium is 120 to 240 kg per hectare, and available sulfur 10 to 20 milligrams per kg ppm, and then these are the micronutrients. And these soil reclamation methods, suppose pH is more or this thing, not only by gypsum, other press mud, sulfur, different chemicals, different materials are there for reclaiming the soil. And if you collect the soil sample and give it to the soil chemistry lab, they will recommend how much, which type of reclamation you have to use, reclamation material you have to use, how much quantity you have to apply, what care you have to take. All those details will be given at the time of soil testing. So before establishment of plantation, and in my opinion at the time of plantation of nursery also, first you should test the soil, for the all these parameters, and then proceed further for the plantation. So this we have to flow the soil and then remove all the weeds, and deep flow 30 to 40 centimeter deep flow is always good. And then once the flowing is over, then remove all the weeds and this thing, then we have to go for the plantation. They are following any problem is there? Okay. Then this is the most, in my opinion, the spacing of the plantation is a little debatable. And once I visited in CSRTA Mysore, we are using generally pair system of plantation. That is 150 plus 90 into 60%. That is 1, 2, 3, fourth one. 150 plus 90 into 60 centimeter system of plantation. Pair system we are recommending. And then small holding farmers, they are planting 90 into 90, and even some farmers 4 into 4 to 2, like that way also they are using it. And previously farmers assumption was, if the more number of plants in a unit area or unit acre, they will get more branches and they will get more yield, and so that they can get more cocoon. But gradually after the many studies, it was found that the plant population in a unit area is not going to contribute anything, but it is going to hamper the quality of the leaf and also product quality also. Because the kolar area, they used to plant row to row 1 feet row to row 1 feet distance they used to maintain, but plant to plant only 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters. So in a unit area there is many number of plants, but when we tried with the experimentation, by the time we prune the shoots and bring it to the rearing house, 70 to 80% of the leaves are dried. So leaves are very, very thin, and also the moisture content is very less, and also they are not fit for the rearing of the silkworms. So here only you will get more number of bundles, but not eatable mulberry leaf. That's why it is not. Then 2 by 2 was there in some of the farmers. That is 30 into 30 centimeter, and then 60 into 60 centimeter was there. That is 2 by 2 centimeter, we call it as. And here also it is dense, but leaf quality was good. Yield wise initially it was a little more. And the main difference is, if you take up the plantation, new plantation, initially 2 by 2 centimeter, 2 by 2 spacing, or 60 centimeter into 60 centimeter, because of the more number of branches, first 2-3 years you will get more yield, but gradually it reduces. But in case of the wider row spacings, initially you will get less yield, but gradually the leaf yield and also quality increases. Because here mulberry garden we are going to maintain for 15 to 20 years, so we have to think about the longer version, and we have to go for this thing. And not only this, the closer plantation leaf material is not at all fit for biology. 2 by 2 spacing or kolar row system, that is row system of plantation material, is not at all fit for the rearing of silkworms. Whatever leaves you are going to feed, they are not going to consumed by the silkworms because of less moisture, less proteins, and also quick the drying. So they are not fit for the silkworm rearing. So that's why you have to think about the spacing. And second thing is, we have to think about the mechanization, and nowadays the labor availability is very less. So how to reduce the cost of the maintenance of the mulberry garden, and the quality. Nowadays we have to emphasize more on the quality leaf production only, not the more number of bundles. So the pair system of plantation, it facilitates the mechanized maintenance, that with the power tiller also we can flow between the 5 feet distance, and even the 532 row also, by removing the one this thing. So even 532 row also with the tractor we can maintain, and between the afterwards I will explain. And then 3 feet distance also easily we can maintain the drip. So, and here all the plants, both the sides, left and this thing, so all the plants get the good sunlight and good aeration. So because of the good sunlight and good aeration, the photosynthetic rate will be very effective, and also the photosynthesis will be more, and the leaf quality will be higher in these cases. So here this is the plant to plant. That one is 90 into 90 centimeter, the left one is, and the right side one is, the 2 rows are arranged in pairs. Here it not. Sorry. Here between the 2 rows are closer. Here to here, this is 90 centimeter. But this row to this row it is 150 centimeter. Here also same 150. But here 90 centimeter. But plant to plant it is only 60. All the rows it is 60 centimeter. Here only here. Plant to plant and row to row also it is only 90 centimeter. That is called as either 3 feet by 3 feet, like that way. But in the 90 into 90 centimeter plantation, we cannot use any tractor or power tiller or anything. Only manually we have to maintain everything. But just by changing the geometry of the plantation to making 2 rows close, and keep making it as a power row system, so we can easily use it for, maintain it for the mechanization. And so you see the difference. In 90 into 90 centimeter plantation, per hectare we can accommodate 12,345 plants. But in case of the pair system, that is 150 plus 90 into 60 centimeter plantation, we can accommodate 13,888. Another 1,000 above plants we can accommodate more. Here we are not going to any reduction in the number of plants planted in a unit area. Number of plants we are increasing. Same time we are facilitating for the power tiller operation, and also tractor operation, and drip, and also the better aeration and better light condition. That's why just whenever you are thinking about the new plantation, so these are the advantages of thing. Then once you decide the spacing, okay, these are the things, and then you have to, as a pair system or 3x3 system, you have to lay out the thing either by flowing or by making the trenches. We can make the trenches with the help of, because nowadays the trenches and JCBs, many things are there. So within no time we can make the layout by making the markings, and then make the trench, and then accordingly, suppose if the pair system means every plant to plant 60 centimeter, we have to mark it. And before marking, you have to keep compost in the trench, and then around 35 centimeter of the basal portion of the sapling should be go inside this thing, and then entire plantation you have to finish it. Okay. So here also same thing. After the completion of the plantation, 2 to 3 days you have to spare for this thing. So you have to keep each and every sapling straight, and press around the newly planted sapling so that it grows straight. And then after completion of the entire plantation, you have to cut it with at the height of 10 to 15 centimeter height above the ground level. So for the pruning and cutting, you have to use a sharp means equipment, that is a pruning saw and secateur. So sharp ones we have to use. Otherwise, if you every time with the machu or this thing, if you cut it, then damaging them means again the entire plantation will go. So this is a bush plantation we have to establish. So here bush plantation means first you have to plant, in our design we have to plant the saplings, and then 10 to 15 centimeter height entire plantation we have to prune it, and then allow the branches to grow it, and then apply the basal fertilizer, and then after 6 months just you have to prune at the 10 centimeter above the previous cut. First 15 centimeter. So next leaving another 10 centimeter, 25 centimeter height we have to cut it. So that first stump and then 3 big branches will be there. Then again after 3 months, then allow it to grow, and again after 3 months again you have to cut it. Again there will be 6 shoots in the field, and 6 means the next cut. After again one more crop you have to cut at the 1 feet height. So why we have to maintain the 1 feet height? Suppose if you are thinking about the mechanization, so the tractor flowing means the basal portion, if the height is more, so it will damage the plant. So you have to maintain only up to 1 feet means, so easily we can maintain the good thing. So this is the system. First 3. So first 3 and then 6 and then finally, so each branch in the bush system of plantation there should be only 10 to 12 branches per plant. If you restrict that branch number per plant, then you will get the better quality mulberry leaf. This below one is the chalky garden, but I think it may take time. And here in 80 days we will get the 2 crops. Here 70 days 1 crop we will get, late age rearing, and chalky garden 80 days we can get 3 harvests. So next comes nowadays, because of the erratic rainfall and also the irrigation, non-availability of irrigation water, many farmers are thinking about the wider plantation, either 8 by 8 feet or 10 by 10 feet, or sorry, it is in the meters only, either the 12 feet by 12 feet, like that way. So if we go for 8 feet, that is 2.4 meter into 2.4 meter. So per hectare we can plant only 694 plants. In case of 10 feet by 3 meters by 3 meter, we can plant only 444. In case of 3.6, that is 12 feet into 12 feet, 308 plants. So here the main question is, so in case of bush plantation, we are per hectare we are planning about 12,345, around 12,000. But here it is only in hundreds. Then whether it is going to affect the yield and quality? Yes. Here the yield and quality is going to affect severely. So what we have to take a precaution that we have to train the plant properly. Train means in case of bush plantation it takes only hardly 1 year for the establishment, but in case of tree plantation it takes minimum 2 years. So here first we have to cut. In tree plantation what we have to do is we have to cut at 70 centimeter, around 70 centimeter height. First cut we have to make it, and then after 6 months second cut we have to give, leaving 3 to 4 bud portion, and then another 90 days again leaving another 3 buds. Like that way, by 6 cuts you will get around 22. Here the branches will be around 20 branches will be there at the end of this thing. So if you maintain like this, then here also you can maintain, you can expect the better yield. If you are not training the plant properly, then you are going to lose the yield under the tree plantation. Because the details I'm not telling, time is very this thing. And then once the plantation is established, then we have to think about the maintenance and the silkworm rearing. This is our major objective. So once the plantation is developed, means we have the CSRTA Mysore has recommended the package of practices. Suppose for late age garden, variety already we discussed, spacing already we discussed, and this important thing is manure. 25 metric ton per hectare per year we have to apply in a year, and the NPK, that is nitrogen, phosphorus and potash, 350, 140, either 100, because some of the areas the potash is more, so that's why we reduce it to 100. So 350, 140, 100 or 140, and then the fertilizers, suppose NPK we are telling, the fertilizer should be, NPK should be on the straight fertilizers, not the complex fertilizers. So that time Japanese were having doubt whether they are mixing in the exact ratio, they are following the quality standards like that. They told, okay, nitrogen means either you use urea or ammonium sulfate, then single superphosphate or other thing, and then muriate of potash. Like that way, they told all each the nutrient you have to take the separate straight fertilizer, mix them, and then apply to the field like that way. They insisted that the fertilizer should be in the straight form and mix at the time of application and go for this thing. Irrigation should be once in 10 days. And the crop cycle is in the late age, every 70 days we will get a crop. Means in a year, 5 crops we can harvest it. So in case of chalky garden that I told you in the morning, the engaged rearing, engaged silkworm rearing, chalky center owners has to establish G4 variety, G2 variety for the chalky garden. And here you see the main difference is because they are very sensitive. Morning madam was discussing the farmyard manure. If you apply more chemicals, it will be affecting the silkworm. Yes, young larvae they are going to be affected severely by the engaged larvae. That's why the whatever nutrients we have to apply in the form of manure, that is 50 metric tons. For late age garden it is 25 metric tons. For young age garden it is only 50, double the dose. And the chemical fertilizers we have, in case of the late age garden it is 350 kg of nitrogen, but for the chalky garden it is 260 kg of nitrogen we have to apply. And irrigation every 3 to 4 days because chalky worms needs more moisture in the leaf. So every 3 to 4 days. In case of late age, every 7 to 10 days depending on the soil type we have to apply. And crop cycle is 2 crops in 80 days. Here 1 crop in 70 days. So the same fertilizers we have to apply. I think same 350. So 7 equal parts we have decided and divided it, and each crop we have to apply how much quantity. This is for farmers we prepared. So N means it is 350, but if you have to apply in the form of urea, it will be 760 kg. If in the form of ammonium sulfate, we require 1750 kg of ammonium sulfate to supply 350 kg of nitrogen. Similar way, per P 140 kg we have to apply. Suppose in the form of SSP, we have to apply 875 kg of single superphosphate. Muriate of potash, in case of 100, we have to apply 165. So, okay, this is general recommendation. So, sir, how I can do like this? Then, okay, you go for this soil testing, and if soil testing, if the soil pH is less than 6, you can go for the urea. You need not go for the ammonium sulfate. Only 150 kg of urea you can apply for 1 hectare per year. So 5 equal split doses you can make it. If the pH is higher, then go for the ammonium sulfate. So if the pH is high, you cannot go for the urea, because again it will decrease the pH. And organic carbon content also, if it is less, actually we are recommended only 25 metric tons. If the soil pH is soil organic carbon is 0.65 to 1, then we have to go for the 25 metric tons of farmyard manure you have to apply per hectare per year. But if it is less than this organic carbon is less than 0.3, we have to apply around 37 metric tons. If it is range is 0.3 to 0.65, around 30 metric tons of farmyard manure you have to apply. If you do the every 2 years periodical soil testing, so you can avoid the wasting of the chemicals, because their general recommendation we are given in the previous slides. So those things you can avoid it. Similarly for potash and phosphor also, just you can apply as for your soil, your mulberry garden you can apply it. Then for rain-fed gardens, majority of the gardens are rain-fed. But in comparison to irrigated conditions, rain-fed maintenance is not that much profitable. Only it will give livelihood income we can maintain, and low yield we will get it. And for that also S13, S34 variety, MSG2, and even other areas also they have different varieties. Either same plantation you can do it. Here thing is manure only 10 metric tons, and nitrogen, phosphorus and potash 150 kg per hectare per year we can apply. And in case of rainfed condition, only 3 to 5 crops in a year we can do it. This is a split doses, means each crop how much we have to do it. And suppose this, wherever the tree plantations are there, na, so just roughly we calculated how much fertilizer we have to apply for the ammonium sulfate, how many grams per plant, because it is a very wider. And some people argue that, sir, we are planting in a 12 feet by 12 feet, and just I am leaving it like that, means without any fertilizer, without any intercultivation, that is zero cultivation. But in my opinion, if you leave it without any cultivation, without growing, without any cultivation, without application of any fertilizer, you are going to get very less and very low yield, and that leaf also may not be suitable for this thing. So that's why at least you have to give protective irrigation, some instead of, so here final slide I will be telling you. So some little quantity of water if you give na, so definitely it will going to improve the quality of the leaf. So some fertilizer you have to apply, so then you will get the better yield. So this is after the establishment of the garden. So just I told only South Indian varieties, but these are the mulberry cultivation practices. So here in comparison to South India, because South India, throughout the year mulberry cultivated, and it is more remunerative. Farmers are doing very regularly, and biovoltaic agriculture technology is introduced effectively. So there the technology adoption is comparatively better than the northeast and the other areas. So here still the strip system of plantation, row system of plantation, very close plantation, these things are going. And temperate area, because most of the seasons there is no growth, so that's why there also there is some limitation. But nowadays they are also adopting the thing. So this is the packages. So just you go through it. If any doubt is there, anytime you can. My email address is there. You can contact anytime. So the main problem is only labor availability. Second thing is we have to go for the eco-friendly approaches. So instead of going for the always chemical fertilizers, so initially you go with the farmyard manure, 20 metric tons per hectare, and then you have to apply either the seri compost or any biofertilizers of this thing, so that the soil organic carbon content is improved. Then you can reduce the application of the quantity of the farmyard manure also. And the green manure crops are the best source for the reclamation of the soils, either acidic soil or alkaline soil. All type of soils are reclaimed, and it will control the weeds, and also it enriches the soil nutrient capacity. It is better always, at least you go for 2 crops in a year. Even biofertilizers also, where neem oil cake, wherever the neem oil cake also we can use it. Wherever the root knot nematode is there, then also we can go for the neem cake at the rate of 500 kg per hectare in 2 or 3 split doses. And in mulberry garden, wherever suppose if any root knot problem is there, please don't use the granules. Sorry, I will tell later. Pyridine granules are used for the control of the nematode, but once you apply the pyridine granules, it even up to 6 to 7 months, if you harvest the leaf from that garden, it will kill all the silkworms. So please don't use pyridine in the existing, means utilizing mulberry garden. So go with the only neem oil cake only. And biofertilizers, again same problem. Seri-azo and seri-phos are there, but the quality maintenance is there is no proper system, because whether how many days back it was they prepared, whether the microorganisms are effective or not, so many things are there. So you check it, then finally you decide it by doing the organic carbon content, and the organic carbon content is there, means just you curtail the chemical fertilizers and go for the organic sericulture only. So most of the soils in southern conditions, they are alkaline in nature. So whatever chemicals we apply, the absorption is restricted. So that's why Mysore they recommended initially Seri Boost, and nowadays they are recommending potion. For 1 liter we have to add 7 milliliter potion, and it will take care of micro and the macro and micro, this thing, and some assimilation agents also. So it is improving the quality of the thing. And these green manure crops, 10 to 12 kg seeds are required per 1 acre. So accordingly you can go for it, and it will improve the soil fertility, reduce the all soil problems. Then the second thing is, so seri compost. The whatever material we are using for the sericulture in rearing. So those most of the farmers are just drying it and they're taking outside this thing because suspecting there is a problem of disease contamination. So they are drying all the things. So instead of drying that, all the left out mulberry shoots and mulberry leaves, silkworm excreta and sun hemp and daincha, if you can adopt in our this thing, they have all the nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus and potash in all the material. And for 1 acre material, all the mulberry shoots and the excreta we use it, and then at least 2 crops of daincha and sun hemp we plant it. So we will be getting around 146 to 189 kgs of nitrogen in the same compost we will get, and phosphorus around 20 to 29, and potassium also 73 to 95. So almost the recommended nitrogen we can get in our compost only. So then we can avoid the dependence on the compost or even chemical fertilizers from the outside. Only thing is we have to put our labor. So this is the process in the Vikota where I work now. There we have demonstrated this thing. This farmer is having, he rears around his income is every month 12 to 15 lakh rupees. So every time he do the thing and rearing, after completion of the rearing, so the entire material is crushed by using the shoot cutters, and then that is used for the composting, and then this way. So these are the other organic sources. Anything you can use it. It is, but only thing the poultry and the seri waste, so directly you should not put into the mulberry garden. You let it be decomposed sometime in a pit or under the shade or somewhere. So that thing you can do it. Tank silt or press mud also, very good. Press mud also we have to decompose it. After composting only we have to use it. Sorry, I'm excited. Just 2 minutes on it. So mulberry actually initial statement itself I told you in the beginning. So mulberry responds well to the cultivation practices. That is one, the digging the soil, loosening the soil, and then application of the fertilizers, the farmyard manure and nutrients, and then the irrigation water. If you put the sufficient irrigation, means the growth will be luxuriant. If the irrigation is restricted, growth, quality, everything is restricted again. So that's why. So the water we have to take care of the water application. So here 2 methods. In the traditional method, furrow irrigation. So each row farmers used to give the irrigation, and nowadays the farmers are adopting the micro system, especially drip irrigation in the plain lands, and the slopey and hilly areas, sprinkler systems are used. And only for rainfed farmers, the CSIT Mysore has developed one Amit affordable irrigation technology like that way. So okay, in furrow irrigation only, directly in the line, along the line we will give in the furrows we will give the irrigation. This irrigation is given basing on the season and soil conditions. 7 to 10 days we will give one irrigation. The micro drips means different drippers are there. So different drip lines they will do it, and around 2 to 2.5 liters of water per day they will give. And on the initial stage less only, but final growth stage they will be giving around 2.5 liter per plant per day they will be giving. And this is Amit system of plantation, drip system. And Amit system plantation only, this is suppose very poor marginal farmers, they cannot do the drip irrigation or anything, just to give them the life saving this thing. So they will be putting a height, some stone or something, and above that some 1000 liters capacity on tank, and they put the water, or whenever electricity is there they pump the water into it, and whenever electricity is not there, when they require water, so they give the, like drip system, they provide the irrigation to this. Here they will go for the actually this again here I have gone for the 1 acre in this thing. And the furrow system of this thing, 1.5 acre inch is recommended for the normal average condition. So per 1 acre mulberry garden we have to irrigate means around 1,55,000 liters of water we have to give. That is at the rate of 1 acre inch per irrigation we have to give it. And every 7 days we have to provide 7 to 10 days depending on the season again. So 70 days crop growth period means 10 days we will be giving irrigation, and the total water required is around 15.5 lakh liters. And if you give the micro drip system, either dripper, any type of drip irrigation system, and if you provide 2 liters water per plant per day, so daily if you give it means 70 days, so it comes to around 8.5 lakh. So in place of 15.5 lakh liters, it comes to 8.5 lakh liters we can maintain the payroll system plantation. And you imagine if the number of plants are 300 and 600, it comes to only 30,000 liters to 60,000 liters. So lot of water saving we can do by adopting the irrigation system. So that with limited resources, limited water, we can maintain the more area of the mulberry plantation. So this is the final slide. Actually, generally majority of the farmers or technicians, they do the thing, but they postpone some of the activities. So after completion of the plantation, we have to prune all the plants at the 20-25 centimeter height or 1 feet height, then remove all the dead shoots or dead stumps and weak ones, and then apply the farmyard manure in the first week. And after 3 weeks of the pruning, we have to apply the chemical fertilizer. And after 23 to 25 days, we have to spray the portion. And if any disease there, pest or anything is there means, so we have to spray this, because after that, after the 25 days, we cannot use any insecticide or pesticide for spray, because it will hamper the silkworm crop. And in between more number of branches are there means 28 to 40 days we have to remove the weak shoots. And so this garden, farmers have to get the chalky from the chalky center. From 45 days onwards they start the rearing, and then 54 days onwards they prune the mulberry garden and use it for the final layering and completion of the crop. So by 72 to 75 days of crop period, we will get one crop. So farmers strictly 12 days, 7 days it will be with the chalky center, and another up to 20 days means another 15 days will be only farmers will be rearing the shoots. So that will be, so the farmers business has become very easy. Thank you.